Well, hey, it's the Witchy Woo Show. I've got James in the room tonight. We're live from the house tonight. We're live from the house. Thanks for tuning in. Mike's trying to join, but he's having some technical issues because he moved about a week ago. And I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, we have got some good stories to come tonight. We've got R. Kelly flying without wings. We've got the Metropolitan Police now being put into special measures. So the worm is turning, we're digging holes, and we're doing really, really good. So anyway, I'm going to say good evening to my young man, James, who's sporting a very sociable T-shirt on tonight. What's it called? Settle Cricket Club, isn't it?
Yeah, Settle Cricket Club.
Loving that, mate. Loving that. Looking sweet, mate. I'll tell you what, that beard, it makes you look very distinguished. It really does.
It's just because I can't be asked to shave.
Yeah. Oh, hello. Look who we've got coming. Look. Oh, I tell you what. He's got a new T-shirt. Oh, I tell you. He looks dangerous. He's like Tom Cruise.
I've got to say, the pictures. Oh, it's better. Oh, hello. Yeah, I've moved. I've moved. As you can see, I've moved residence to this rather large 4-bedroom house, which is some fucking palace, and I'm in Band G for council tax. I'm gonna have to have a word with you, Dave. We ain't paying that for too long.
Mike. Yeah. Oh dear. Oh dear. Yeah, don't swear.
£4 grand a year.
You can't swear in this channel. Can't swear here.
Sorry, I did not swear. That's naughty.
Well, now's the time to challenge them. Now's the time to challenge them. And what have you got to lose? Nothing. Nothing to lose. Yeah. You know, I mean, it's a good starting topic. I mean, apart from R. Kelly just getting 30 years for sex trafficking. So we shouldn't be seeing him flying without wings for a little while. And, but yeah, council tax under massive scrutiny right now because, you know, one man can't make an obligation for somebody else. That's the law. So when they say, oh, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. No, we haven't. We really don't. And we really need to challenge these people hard and fast now because they're taking the mickey when everything else in the world is just going absolutely crazy. What kind of clemency or niceness has any of the councils shown to anyone? There's people committing suicide because they can't pay council tax. You know what I mean? It's got to stop. It's got to stop.
Well, the thing is, they want to charge me. What's it? It works out 280 quid a year for police. So that's to ring the police. They go like there's a bit. I'll give you an instance. There's a video I saw the other day, and it's about 20 guys on bikes. You know, these quad bikes, and they're on the motorway, and they're kicking the shit out of cars. Swearing over, and the guy gets the phone, goes, "Is that the police? Like, we've got something seriously going on here." And the police go, "Sorry, all our officers are on emergency calls. Tell us what your postcode, and we'll get you as soon as we can." They're doing 70 miles an hour at the motorway on quad bikes. These guys, like the pikeys, going in and out and kicking the shit out of other cars. And the police, well, they're not that interested. Well, where are the motorway police?
Well, where are they?
If that had been me, I'd have just I'd just nudge them and just take them off. You know, they want to fuck with me. I'm sorry. If they want to muck around with me, I'd knock them off. So
is that muck and fuck the same word? Are you using it in the same context, or?
I was going to say muck, but I said fuck instead, so I shouldn't have said fuck. I should have said muck. So I apologise for that. You know, I'm a very well-spoken young man.
Yeah. What's your view, James? What's your view on council tax, James? Let's hear what you've got to say on council tax.
You really want my view on council tax?
Yeah, come on, mate. Give us the raw end of the wedge. Come on, fin it out.
Right. Well, I've been in discussion with the council, and the council have now banned me from only talking to them. I'm only allowed to talk to them on the last Friday of every month between 10 and 12. Right?
Oh, wow.
They won't answer the question. No, they won't answer the questions I want answering. You won't believe what I've said to them and emailed them. You wouldn't believe it. Yeah. And they're all a bunch of lying bastards. Yeah, every single one of them, right? They know exactly what their bastards are doing. They know what they're doing to the people, right? And it's about time the people of this country stood up and told them to stick the council tax right up their fucking arse. Sorry for swearing.
No, it's all good, man. It's all good. What's your take on what James just said, Michael?
Well, I agree with him because, I mean, when I was a kid, I've said it before, I think I said it a couple of weeks ago, that the councils ran everything. And if you had a council house, you paid rates. Everybody pays rates. You pay for water, you pay for gas, you pay electric. I mean, it's all part of it. And it was peanuts. I mean, I think my mum paid 19 and 6 a week, you know, to live in a 2-bedroom flat, which had been requisitioned. And requisition mean after the Second World War, there was so much damage to properties in South London, you know, because of the docks and everything else. They requisitioned these big old houses that rich people owned at the time, and they decided, you know, to put all the hoi polloi in, so that's what they did. Now, and everything was included on the rates, and the councils ran everything, which is absolutely how it should be. No government should be interfering with the council. However, it's got to the point now that two people, that's why the poll tax to some degree was better than what we have right now. It shouldn't be that you have to pay the rateable value of a house like this one is nearly 4,000 quid a year. For what? There's two people living in this house. Why am I spending £4,000 because this house is worth £1 million? Why? I mean, why should you have to pay more? What are you taking out from this house with two people that live in say a 1-bedroom flat? Or they live in a 3-bedroom house and they're in Band D. I live in a house which is a Band G. There's still two people living in there. So why am I paying £4,000? It's a fucking scandal. I mean, do you know the easiest way around your council tax? Go on.
Ring them up, let them know who you are, and say, if you send me your Bitcoin details, I'll take it from my wallet and put it into yours. Then they're going to go on the thingy and say, oh, but because you really get them in a panic because they can't accept Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin is a currency. And if you've got a Bitcoin wallet and you said, look, I'm happy to pay whatever it is you want, I need your Bitcoin details, so they will run from you. They can't touch Bitcoin. They're not allowed to.
Yeah, I'll try that tomorrow. Having said that, the happiness is like ringing the council. I sat on the phone just as an exercise. It got after 10 minutes. 40 minutes later, somebody picked the phone up. He said, hello, can I help you? I went, council. I said, I want to speak to someone council tax. They went, I'll put you through to the number. So they put me through, and I waited another 35 minutes and got no answer.
It's a bit like good public service.
Yeah, so I was sitting there doing a crossword, and the phone was ringing. I thought, well, somebody's got to pick. No, he picked the phone up. No, interesting. So I was going to email them, and I thought, no, if they want their fucking money, they can write to me and say, oh, we understand you're now living here. You owe us this money. Then I can have the argument. You know, I say I'll pay you in Bitcoin. Never
argue. Arguments, as a maxim in law, arguments are for fools.
Well, you know what I mean. You know,
I do.
Take issue with them and decide. Say, well, how would you like it, silver or gold, or do you want Bitcoin? You know, I mean, I've got enough gold here, Dave. That's worth probably enough to pay the council tax for the next 5 years. So, you know, it's in bits of, so I'll go down about having a 24-karat gold chain from Thailand. So I go, here you go. There's $3,000. There's 2 chains. They're worth £4,200. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt there. There you go. Only when you.
We've lost the love in the relationship, Mike, because we've forgotten who we are. We're sovereigns. We're sovereigns.
The thing is, they work for us. We don't work for them.
Supposedly work for us. Supposedly.
Anybody that's
we need to tell them.
Exactly. Anybody. I look at it from the point of view is that they are, by not providing what we pay for, they're in breach of contract. The police, particularly, if you ring them up and you say, I'm being burgled, they say, oh, well, you know, have they taken much? Oh, well, I'll give you a crime number. That's in breach of their obligation to protect you as a member of the public, and which is what I pay nearly 300 quid a year for. I mean, why is it the police don't come out to burglaries, don't come out to minor altercations? They'll only come out sometimes with a gun, and they get helicopters out and lay something down the motorways at 150 miles an hour. That's all the police want to do. I mean, it's still Starsky and Hutch as far as they're concerned. I mean, you don't see a police. I mean, since I lived here where I live in Westmoreland now, I've not seen one policeman. Not one, and I'm out and about all the time, walking around and everything. Not one police car. And this is a little provincial town. You know it, Dave. You know, only like half an hour from you, 15 miles. You know, so it as you'll know when you fellow over. But it is a real. It's what are we paying for? I don't mind paying for ambulance, but why are you paying for ambulance? Because they say in August, can't guarantee the service after August. I think
what?
I can't guarantee the service. That's the ambulance service saying. So I was reading. Fire brigade. Well, the fire brigade are about the best bet now because when Maxine was pretty sick, I called an ambulance and the fire brigade turned up. And the fire brigade came because they're the first responders. And on board is someone who's like a paramedic, and they can assist you. And like Maxine was gasping for breath, they came in oxygen. He knew exactly what to do. And bless their hearts, they are the best of the three services.
Oh, of course.
They really are. They're helpful. They're obliging, and they understand what emergency is. The police don't actually give a fuck about us. They're only interested in their own self-serving people. I mean, what exactly do the police give us? What exactly do the police give us?
Nothing.
Nothing. Exactly.
Oh, but hang on. The Met Police has just been placed into special measures.
Well,
there's a lot going on.
An old suck Dick Cullen. What did he do? It's not my fault. It's the government's fault. Yeah. The thing is, we can all say this and that, but that's all we're doing. We're not doing nothing about it, and that's always been our Achilles heel. We don't come out no more. We don't check on these people. We don't hold them accountable. We always used to hold them accountable. Now we just come on loads and loads of people. You've got people on YouTube. You've got ex-army people on YouTube and forces and politicians on there all screaming and shouting and doing this. But no one's doing nothing. We're just all putting up with it. Shell have just announced, one petrol company's just announced since when the prices have gone up to almost £2 a litre, that they've made £7.3 billion of profit. What's all that about? Well, you see, the thing is that I'm a capitalist. I believe that that's what, and all that money goes into our pension funds. You know, it goes into doing all kinds of weird and wonderful stuff. So so while we
reckon?
It does. I've got a huge amount of money with fuel companies. However, where it all goes horribly wrong for me, and what I think is that their CEO came and said, we've got so much money, we don't know what to do with it. The government will say, well, we should have a windfall tax. Okay, well, I don't subscribe to that. The government shouldn't have to look around and say, we're going to take money out of this to patch up. This is like sticking plaster. It's like trying to bail out the channel with a bucket. You know, it's impossible. You know, the problem is, and we all know, Biden in America has stopped producing fuel. America is sitting on 400 years of fuel, of oil and gas. 400 years. If the Republicans win at the midterms and win the next election, they will start producing petrol, oil, whatever again. Okay, but it might be too late by then because this government are determined to take all our cars away. They want to put fucking speed limiters in them now. I mean, nothing more dangerous. I mean, if you've ever driven a really fast car, or like I have, like Ferraris, all kinds of stuff. I mean, the only thing that gets you from dying in a head-on collision is acceleration. If you're limited, and they'll say, well, you know, you should be traveling at 70 miles an hour. Well, I mean, the speed limit is what they're going to speed limit to 40, 50. The best thing, it's an actual joke. And so our cars, the cars that you have, the one you're putting back your BM and put back again, they're going to be worth £1 million because you're not going to have a speed limit fee. I'm never going to sell my Lexus. What for? To get a car fitted with what? An electric vehicle and all that bullshit. And we all know that when they plug them in at night, when there's a bit of a problem, they'll suck all the energy out of those and put it into the national grid to boost.
It's like the blind leading the blind in this country. It really is. My Supreme Court in America have just come out and announced to the people that you don't need a license. You have a natural right to travel. That's just very recent as well.
They've overruled another just now, David.
Go on, say it again, James.
I say they've overruled another one just now. Biden was trying to limit the amount of oil production and stuff, and the Supreme Court have overruled it.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, they've really.
And that's just happened just sort of in the last few hours, I think.
So it's
like
good,
the Supreme Court.
Yeah, they've turned around and said that you've got the right to travel.
That's right.
Yeah,
so you don't need a license.
This is other. This.
I think I want to go.
Well,
I'm starting to think about going to live in America again. I mean, you know.
Yeah, but the thing is, it don't just apply to America. It applies everywhere. Everyone's got the right to travel. We've just forgotten it.
And what happens in America happens in England.
Generally.
Yeah, but you know what we got a conservative Labour government, haven't we? They're a load of socialists. They're not conservatives. I mean, you've got Rees-Mogg saying we don't really want to do this with follow the rules of the EU. The fucking EU come out the classic, don't they? The EU. Oh, what Boris Johnson's do with Brexit is making Putin's hand stronger in hampering us in dealing with Putin. Now, this country is just about to give another £1 billion worth of arms. Okay. Well, the good thing is, of course, the government's spending that money here with our arms in our arms department. So to some degree, it's good and it's bad. However, I think we should. I've got no problem giving the Ukrainians arms. I don't think the Ukrainians are the best people in the world. They're corrupt. They've done all kinds of wonderful stuff. And to some degree, they live in their own world of problems. However,
Ukraine is one of the most corrupt countries in the world.
Well, let's be honest. Who went there? Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden was being supported by the Ukrainians. He was being supported by the Chinese. And this laptop that's going to come out, not been investigated by anybody too much. I mean, Biden now has been proved to be a liar. They've got pictures of him with Chinese businessmen who he said he never met. They've got recordings of him discussing with his son. Don't worry, you're in the clear. You'll be fine. It's going to come out, but you're in the clear, son. You'll be fine. Love you. And all that. So that's a lie. I've never spoke to my son about his dealings abroad. He's a fucking liar. Why hasn't he been impeached? Why is it the Democrats who are now tearing America to pieces? I mean, tearing it to pieces by destroying the very fabric of the society they live in.
It's no different from here, though, Mike. It's no different from here. We're doing that here.
It's worse. It's worse in America because they've got guns. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's video come out today of a street battle in New York.
This is a good one. If after the First World War, many of the service boys come back with their 36s or 38s, keep them concealed in their ulcers, and if they see a copper in trouble, the copper might say, "Have you got your service weapon on you?" And then they'd get it and have a little dust up. Now, do we think, right, that in America, their courts are going to issue dodgy warrants if they're going to have bailiffs going around and breaking in 24/7? I'm going to talk to you about a story in the Mirror in a second where SSE or British Gas have broken into a woman's house that's up to date with all of her bills. They got the wrong address and they've took her meters out and put smart ones in. Right? Now, do you think that would happen here if people were still at the right? Well, we do have the right to keep and bear arms, and I think more people are probably swaying towards that kind of philosophy now. But I genuinely believe if bailiffs and that weren't proper in America, they're going to start breaking into people's houses. They're going to get shot dead, and they're well aware of that. So I actually think there's a great book, More Guns, Less Crime, and it's worth a read.
Well, there's a very good reason. There's good reasoning behind that, because what Biden and the Democrats are trying to do, they're trying to disarm the population. Now, why would a government want to disarm the population and everything else that brings? The freedom to bear arms is in their constitution. They can walk around. I don't agree they should have AK-47s and submachine guns and all kinds of stuff, semi-automatic rifles. I don't see the point of that. But that is their basic right to do, and you can't argue that. If we're going to sit and argue the point of law and what's right and what's wrong, it's lawful in America to carry and bear arms to whatever degree you like, up to a certain point. I mean, you can't have a Jimpy or a 50 caliber, fully automatic machine gun. Of course you can't. But you can have a semi-automatic rifle, assault rifle, an SM-80 with the British Army uses, or an AK-47, whichever it uses. But so there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with, I don't think, in America, having been to America, most cars, particularly when I was in Texas, in their glove compartments, have got a gun. And one of the things that Maxine was saying, only reminded me of yesterday, she said she was talking to somebody, and when we hired a car, we're in Dallas 2 years ago, just before, a couple of months before the pandemic, and he said to me, whatever you do, don't get into an argument with a motorist, don't have road rage, because they will shoot you.
Yeah.
And that's in Dallas, and they'll pull out a gun on you, and they will fucking shoot you. And that's a fact, And so I said, and I'm a little bit, I get a little bit anxious. I don't get precious, but I get a little bit anxious about, people with some road rage, because we've all been prone to it. So I was quite, and lousy drivers, really bad drivers. I mean, awful drivers. I don't know where they drive.
Have you ever seen Charlton Heston's? One of the last speeches he ever did was to a big congress of people. And he was holding a rifle that was used in the Civil War. And he made this great debate. And he said, you cannot beat the leveling of a piece of blued steel. It levels up the playing field. Now, a guy I used to work for years ago, but he's sadly been passed away for years. His son's still alive, Paul Bicker. But his mother was in the kitchen one day. She's passed. But she was washing up, and two lads jumped the garden and was going for the garage because he'd done cars up, really smart, like hot rods and stuff. They couldn't get in the garage. They was coming up towards the house, and she's telling them to shush off, like with her hands making gestures. And they thought, oh, she's a little old bird, no worry about it. Well, they soon changed their mind when she put 410 up and pointed it out the window because they fled over the wall. So there's a great book, More Guns, Less Crime. Now, the only reason the British establishment don't want you having that is because they want to control the shit out of you. They want to be able to break into your house. They want to be unlawful. It's all by design. The whole thing's by design. We've let them go too far. They should never be wielding the kind of power that they're wielding now. I see two black guys get pulled over in a Corsa on a video about 4 years ago. And these two coppers have got machine guns and they're pointing, get out of the car, get out of the car, get out of the car, get on the floor. And I'm thinking, you're crazy people. We have just become an absolute nation of crazies. Now, when after the Second World War, loads of people brought their guns back from that war and the First World War, were people going around indiscriminately shooting and killing each other? No, not really. Because they had common sense.
Dave, the guns, people who are going to shoot people, okay, they don't have to have a gun. They'll get a gun illegally. If you're going to go and do a bank or you're going to go and rob someone with a gun, you don't go and buy one. You can rent them, and you rent the gun, and you can get a clip of bullets. If you fire the gun, you have to buy it, and you have to buy the clip of bullets. They go with it, okay. Now that gun, if you got caught with it, it might be a gun that's been used in multiple crimes, in which case then you've got a serious problem. But you can go and buy it, and I can buy a gun for 900 quid, and if I wanted one, and I know where I can go and get them. But you don't want to go there. However, the point I'm making is, Dave, I mean, when people say, oh my God, let's get rid of all the guns, as you say, that's not the way. Guns don't kill people. People kill people.
People kill people.
That's it. People kill people. And they use a gun. There's knives. More people died of stabbing. Let's get rid of all the knives then. Let's go to drawers, go and melt them all down, turn them into Coca-Cola cans or cars. Yeah. I mean, let's get all the knives. Let's get all the forks in, and let's give you a spoon and get a good spooning.
Oh, spooning on a Thursday night.
It's bullshit, Dave. Guns, getting rid of guns is not the reason. Responsible people, 99.99% of people are responsible, do not go around shooting people. I mean, if I had a gun in here right now and a policeman walked in, I'd fucking shoot him because I've got a legal right to have that pistol or not now, but a shotgun. And I'll point out and say, you fucking come in my house, I'm going to shoot you. And they can say, you can't shoot. And I'll go, bang, bang, take me to court. You're breaking into my house. I'm defending myself.
See, people think if because the state's got all the guns that we're in a very nice place, but we're actually in a state of lawlessness because They just turn up whenever they want. They kick your door in. They're being taught a bit of a lesson now, especially Kent Police. I mean, I'm pretty sure Kent Police are very licking their wounds that a judge and a jury kicked them under the bus quite a few months ago with regards to Robert White's case and put them down as trespassers. But a friend of mine also, his license for a firearm come up for review about 5 years ago. And we had quite a little bit of a chit chat about it. He said, I'm not renewing. He said, I'm not renewing. So we got the Bill of Rights, we got the petition, this, that together. We put it towards the Chief Constable. And we said, he's keeping his guns. He's a common sense man. He means no harm to anyone. He's not getting a license no more. He's not begging for a benefit. And he's still good. He's not had a license for 4 or 5 years. They've not come nowhere near him. Nowhere near him. You've got bows. You've got all sorts of things we can use.
Aside, do you know it costs? I forget what the gun was about 10 or 15, 50. I don't know what it is, but it costs about 4 or 5 times more for them to go through the ritual of producing a gun license for you than it does to buy it. I mean, I don't know why that's the case, but that's the stupidity of government, I suppose.
Do you know what the definition of the word license is?
Go on.
It's a permission to commit a crime. You're asking, so like you go and get a driving license. So you've asked to commit a crime, and then all they've got to do is catch you in the act. So you do 36 and a 30, you're guilty. Why? Because you got a license. You can scream yourself.
The other thing that's funny, you're on the road, and this is going to be in the highway code, like everything else is. The highway code now, someone lets you know, you go, thanks, mate. That's illegal. That's a fine.
What?
Yep. If you take your hand off the wall and go, thanks, mate, that's a fine. You couldn't make it up.
I got jazz hands.
So the police do it. They go, mate, they do. And the police are pretty good like that. Some of the drivers, most of them sort of you go like that too, but most of the time, and that's what they say. So if you thank someone, say thanks for letting me out. I really appreciate that. That's a crime. That's
really?
Yeah, that's really. Illegal. Yeah, take 2 hands off the wheel. I mean, I can't drive with 2 hands on the wheel. I never have done. I've never been able to drive with 2 hands on the wheel. I drive with one hand and one hand sort of playing myself or something. I don't know. But it's I've never driven with 2 hands on the wheel.
So here's the thing, right? Cockney Patriots just making a thing there. Don't need a license for an horse. You don't. I ain't got none here at the minute because she's away. But you don't need a license for a bike. You don't need a license for roller skates. You don't need a license to go jogging. Now, why is it with motors that you do?
All those scooters. Hey? All those scooters.
That's what I'm saying. So the only reason you can get nicked is because you've begged for the license. If you have an accident on an horse and you do something and you're not insured, where's it come from? It comes from the national pot. Everyone's got national insurance. They've got these funds available. So the only reason you get done for driving is because you begged for a license. Every other activity is you can use the roads, because the reason why you can use the roads is because they're yours. They're your roads. They're not councils. They're not governments. They're not Boris's. They're yours. They're ours, mine. They're James. They're yours. They're Cockney Patriots. They're everybody's property. You cannot monopolise over the creator's creation.
Well, let's take that a bit, as we talk about cars, electric vehicles now, okay?
Look,
the law will be...
Don't talk to me about that.
Everybody who's got electric must have their own way of charging them, okay? So if you live 10 stories up in a block of flats, what do you do? You
got to run a big extension lead out and hope no one plugs into it first when we get down there.
Good evening.
I
can turn my volume up. Hang on, because I like to mute it. I was on the phone.
It's old sweet. Wait, mate, you can't park that there.
Can't park that there, mate.
You got feedback on that, Dave.
You got feedback, Dave. You got a bit of feedback, love. Are you watching it in the background on something?
No, my phone's off.
Yeah, you're out of sync. Have you got 2 streams out at once? You got a mute one.
Yeah, the only time you need a license is if you're driving commercially, if you're ferrying people around, if you're a coach driver, taxi driver, hauling goods around. But other than that, if you're traveling from point A to point B, you have a natural right to travel, and regardless. And it's a basic right. You can't even talk about it. It is so basic of a right and such a given right. You can't talk about traveling. Traveling's a given.
It's not a funky given, is it?
Yeah, well, if you like talking of horses, if you go riding a horse, but then if someone rings you up and says, Dave, how's your horse? And you say, yeah, it's absolutely fine. And it says, well, I'm going rustling this weekend to get the cattle off the land. Do you fancy coming driving for a couple of days? And I'll pay you some good money. That's the difference.
Yeah.
When you're riding a horse for money, you're driving the horse.
What time's the meet? Where are we meeting?
Where's that? You got your horse?
Everyone's got a horse, haven't they, still?
I don't know. Oh, the
I
car.
sold mine when I got rid of the chariot. But I don't know. I mean, Dave's got. He's got three. Got three in you, Dave. Three.
No, I got down to two now. Got rid of one.
You sold one.
Yeah, Jade went some time ago. I mean, no, we had Ranger. We had three, but he threw my missus off in like a bucket. You know that Bronco game used to play where it throws you up and Lasseroe, he fucking give her some of that. I've got to buy her a blow-up vest soon, so when she comes off the horse, this thing inflates and makes her look bigger than she is.
What about, are you going to buy another blow-up doll then at the same time, or what?
I think it's like that. You just slide into it.
Well, if it works, Dave, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, mate. You know, go there.
Hopefully, I'll never have to pump her up, but you don't know, do you?
We live in hope.
How you doing, Loquacious? You doing all right, gorgeous?
I'm all right, mate. You, Dave?
What's Loquacious Live, Dave? What's that?
What do you mean, what's Loquacious Live? Where you
Yeah,
been living under? Oh, yeah, of course. You live under a rock in South London, don't you?
I don't live in South London. I'm in Kent, darling.
Kent, darling.
Yes,
The
that's
fucking the shithole of England. Can you go down to Dover, move a bit further south?
We get out of the
Where is it you live now? Where is it? Remind us.
Say again, over.
Whereabouts?
Worthing, isn't it?
Where is it you live?
I mean, right at this moment in time, I'm in Worthing, yeah.
Worthing.
Worthing,
Okay.
yeah.
Sussex.
South Coast, yeah. I love it down
here. Jason Wills. Lovely to see you, Jason.
North London drives me mad now.
Does it?
Never get me home. Never.
I'll go back.
Have you got any fireworks ready for this year, Davey, or what?
Of course, mate. Cotchels.
Cotchels of them. Lovely.
Cotchels, mate.
You're not gonna go like you did last year, though, are you? When your back strapped your back and get nicked.
Oh, I'm going to. They'll be plotted up early, mate. Don't worry about that.
Little arms cashes around.
You only get me the same way once.
Yeah.
Never get
Where's
me the
Alan?
same way twice.
Is Alan all right? As the merit? Is he doing
Mr.
all right?
Merrick, he's in the chat. He's chatting away.
Is he? I'm trying to find him.
You lot don't read the chat.
With Sandy and all that. Is that all been resolved or what?
No. Well, listen. Let's get something straight. As soon as you brought that subject up, I brought it up myself. But there you go. Alan, as you probably are aware, his wife's now on palliative care, Kathy. So what little time Alan's got left with his wife, he wants to deal with it with his wife. You know what I mean? And he wants to spend as much time with his wife and concentrate on his wife. She's been backwards and forwards from nursing home to hospital on an almost daily basis, sometimes weekly, you know what I mean? But she has been backwards and forwards. They kicked her out and she was back within 17 hours the last time. When they said she was all right, of which she's got paperwork in about that. Anyway, cut a long story short, he can do without all the bollocks, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? It's not, listen, I don't mind anybody having a bit of banter and a bit of a crack, you know what I mean, or taking the piss out of people, or just if you want to, if someone's annoying you and you're not happy with them and you want to call them out on a live, fair enough, you know what I mean? But there's a time and a place for everything, isn't there? You know what I mean? You have to have a bit of a decorum about you know what I mean? And I think the fella's lost it. I mean, they do 2 or 3, I think a couple of shows on here, on Wake Up on Jason's platform. and he seems to be their hot topic for some unknown reason. And Alan has tried to contact the fella a couple of times with the old phone to speak to him personally. And the accusations that have been made are so preposterous, you know what I mean? Purporting that he'd been looking up. There was a hotel somewhere or a boozer that had glass stairs going up it. Can you imagine a public building anywhere in the United Kingdom with glass stairs in a public area that weren't opaque?
Of course, going to be opaque. Otherwise,
would you be able to watch women coming up a glass stair, looking up skirts, that sort of stuff? Would it be possible even? So to purport that sort of stuff is folly.
As if Alan would be interested. As if Alan at that particular time, any other time, who knows, who cares? But I mean, with all that on his mind, that's all he's thinking about. It's fucking outrageous.
He can do without it, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I think I know for a fact that somebody got stuck for a bit of accommodation, like they do. You know, they were out on a gig, on a bit of a demo, and they were stuck for accommodation because things went wrong. And Alan fronted them a couple of quid, 40 quid, you know what I mean? Not a fortune, but something to help towards. I mean, you can get a night in most places for 40 quid, can't you? B&B, or even a Premier Inn, you know what I mean, for 40 quid. And the connotation to that was he believed that he was looking for more than just offering a 40 quid for a bit of accommodation, you know what I mean?
Well, you wouldn't get much for 40 quid, would you?
No, but it was as if he was looking for something else other than just giving her a bit of money.
What's sad is that someone would think of that. I mean, you can meet a nicer bloke than Alan.
No.
Does someone think that's that ill of him? Not even as a joke. It's not. I don't find that very funny. I find that sad. No. And the guy actually needs a fucking slap for doing it.
Yeah, there you go. Somebody just put up and you'd get a double at a Premier Inn today, and you would. You know what I mean? Holiday Inn, during the week, you'd get in a Holiday Inn. You know what I mean? Anyway, it is what it is. People get things in their body. What it is the majority of most of this bollocks that goes on within the internet, etc. It's people massaging their own egos. You know what I mean? And they think having a crack at Alan, because Alan's got, Alan has quite a bit of a following anyway himself personally. You know what I mean? When he goes to different things, I think the last time he went to one was the Rape of Britain Part 2. He went to Part 1 as well, but the last one he went to Part 2. Tommy Robinson, Telford dude.
Telford.
And Alan hadn't been around those people for quite a while, you know, because between the 1 and 2 was quite a gap. And on 2, different people turned up to what they did on 1. Some of the same lot turned up. Anyway, all Alan got all day was, "Hello, Alan, how you doing?" You know, different people that he hasn't seen for a long, long time speaking to. So what these people do is they think that if they put a needle in about somebody and make up preposterous stories and rumours and spread bollocks, that those people will walk away from that person and come to the person who started the bollocks.
It don't work like that.
And the thing is, when it doesn't turn out that way, and it goes the other way round, that people walk away from you for saying the bollocks, they then get the ump even more because it hasn't gone the way they thought it was going to work out, which is generally how it works. Because we've got a little lady called Karma who sorts that sort of stuff out all for us. We don't have to do anything, do we? She does it all for you.
Yeah, what goes around comes around.
And what goes around comes around. And you couldn't meet a nicer fella than Alan, you know what I mean? Alan will tell you, I tell him all the time, he's very soft and very easygoing, you know what I mean? And he can quite easily be taken advantage of. Having said that, everyone's got their limits, you know what I mean? And eventually Alan did blow up, mainly because it was taking his concentration away from his beloved Kathy, his wife. I mean, he's got her rings round his neck now. Because Kathy's fingers have gone very, very thin, and he didn't want to lose the rings, you know what I mean? And you know what's like in
what happens in hospitals, how many people lost stuff in hospitals?
It wouldn't be the first time, would it, that someone's rings have gone missing, you know what I mean? So he's got rings around his neck, and you know, he's dealing with stuff that you got to deal with when people go into palliative care. You know, he's got funerals to think about at some point, hopefully not too near future, you know what I mean? Hopefully there's distance, but he doesn't want to see his wife in pain. They've withdrawn any future medications, and nature will run its course. You know what I mean?
That would
And
be-
Alan will be in bits, as anybody would be, wouldn't they? You know what I mean? He's in
Yeah,
bits now. He's very,
When
very.
he told me about it, I said to him, I said, like, you know, no matter what you think, Alan, there's a lot of people wrapped around you who love and care for you.
Yeah, exactly.
You've got a lot of people
Well, he's
leaning
got
on.
all the loquacious people wrapped around him and the friends and all that. He's got all the admin team and all that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
He's coming to Sussex at some point, and you know and he knows if he needed me, for instance, I'd jump in the motor and go up there. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I'd go and stay with him if he needed that.
Yeah.
His daughter-in-law's helping him out a lot at the moment because he's got paperwork to do as well. You know what I mean? There's a lot involved when a family member goes into palliative care, isn't there? You know what I mean? And people should take that into consideration, whether you've got the needle with someone or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
In my opinion. And it's
Right.
bad enough anyway, and it's the bollocks that people fucking spread around it about each other. You know what I mean? Unfounded allegations is what I'd say.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus Jones is saying, I worked in a private hospital. He said the amount of thieves. Oh, my word.
Yeah. Oh, it's terrible. I mean, not just the general public's gear going missing. You know what I mean? They do say, don't they? As soon as you go in there, if you've got a decent watch or a nice phone or whatever, keep it out of the way, you know, because they can't trust the cleaners, etc., etc. But it's not just that; it's the actual gear that we've all paid for as taxpayers, whether you pay tax or you don't like paying it, or whatever we fund or however we fund the NHS. Not only do we spend extortionate amount of money for a needle, for instance, or a syringe, most NHS staff have got the best fucking first aid kits at home, funded by you and me. And it ain't just that goes missing. Whole theatre stuff goes, you know, I mean, stuff worth thousands of pounds goes on the diffie, doesn't it?
Jeez.
So, and they're not the most secure buildings, are they? At the end of the day,
No.
you could
They're
walk
not-
out with a widescreen TV.
They're not
in
even
the
places to
hospital.
go and get. They're not even places to go and get better, are they? They're full of disease and people who don't wish you well, misdiagnosis and all kinds of shit going on.
It's
Yeah,
fallen
yeah,
to places, isn't it?
You can't even get a GP appointment, can you? There's a guy that
Well, we did a piece. I think it was last night. Funny, what day were we? Thursday? No, Wednesday, didn't we? No,
Thursday night.
Yeah, it's Thursday. So it was last night. We did a piece last night on the NHS. And have you seen the way they're going to increase the amount of doctors they've got? Have you seen the training they're going to use?
No.
was it 20
You
minutes?
know the Xboxes and the PlayStation 4s.
Yeah.
Well, you know you can put those sets of goggles.
Oh,
on,
yeah,
right? Yeah, right. Listen, we put the whole video up. This is the government's new plan. Our Minister of fucking not making people better, him, the Minister of Health. You put as a doctor in training, a junior, you put this set of goggles on, right? And it looks like they're doing fucking miming. You'll never beat a doctor. In 5 years' time, you'll never beat a qualified doctor at charades. Never. Right? It's a dummy, obviously. It's in the air. It's not there, is it? They're on a green screen. You know what I mean? So they've got these things on. They've got the goggles on. They play the thing, and they're sticking things up people's noses and doing operations. Pretend, you know what I mean?
Wow.
And this is the future of training, AI training. Can you imagine going into a hospital in 10 years' time, and the geezer turns up with a set of them on? I'll go, no, you're all right, mate. I'll have a pass.
Especially if you're doing a fucking handstand.
You imagine it, though.
Well, to be honest with you, Dave, they don't want us to live till over 70, do they? To be honest, we're past their
Did you,
usual.
Michael, in the village the other day, right? A geezer's got the ump with him not picking the phone up. So he's on his mobile and he's walked into the doctor's surgery whilst the phones are ringing. He's got it, and he shouts out, "Excuse me." And this woman comes out and he says, "Why aren't you answering your phones?" "Oh," she said, "we are." He said, "I'm ringing you now. Why can't we hear the phone?" She said, "We've been told to turn all the phones down so they don't distract us."
Well, the other thing that we did last night on the NHS, talking about, well, you know, everyone's starting to go on strike. They're trying to build it up to a national strike, aren't they now? Because you've got the RMT, the planes, the airports are going on strike. So planes, trains, and Automobiles now. Automobiles are just about on strike because at £2.20, not many people can afford to fill it up, can they? You can afford to get to pump 5 to pump 1 if you're lucky. Most people. So the trains are gone, the planes are gone. They're trying to get rid of the cars by pricing you off the roads. So everyone's going on strike. So the doctors' surgeries now, they want a 30% increase. Right, but listen, they'll have to fucking start going to work first, won't they?
No, they're not Saturdays. They're not going to work. No, they're not working Saturdays. Not going to work Saturdays or weekends. No,
Why
you're
not?
9 to 5, they're done. They're on £100 a year now.
You can't get to see them from Monday to fucking Friday. But don't worry about the weekend. That was never happening anyway.
That's not strictly true. I rang them up the other day and they booked me in for a smear test, and we're going to do it over a Zoom meeting in about 2 weeks' time.
Yeah,
so I'm happy with that.
Exactly. Well, that's the new app, isn't it? We've got a new app coming out now. Have you seen that? The new app for consultations.
Really? What? Really?
You're going to get a Zoom consultation, yeah. Yeah, that's the latest app that the government are bringing out now.
You think
37? How much was it? 37 million on the last one.
Why have doctors decided to go down this path? I mean, being a doctor's a hands-on thing. If Mrs. Smith comes in and she's got some arse sores on her butt cheeks because she's got a bit of weight on,
Yeah,
I mean, he's physically got to have a look at them.
You have to give it someone else.
But what I don't understand is there's limitations to what you can do. If someone's got tonsillitis, you want to put that thing in their mouth and hold it down. You want to know what's all this Zoom business all about? Why is it so artificial?
Well, the thing is that a lot of people, funny enough, I was having a very nice conversation today with a civil servant, funny enough, a retired civil servant, while I was having a bit of breakfast this morning before we opened the shop. Anyway, I'm sat out there chatting away, and he was saying about all this about the pandemic and how things have changed and how retail's changed. And then I was telling him, well, because the internet has exploded over the last 2.5 years now, we're 10 years in front of where it should be, you know what I mean? Hence why your high street's dying. But anyway, he said, everything's Zoom now, isn't it? It's all Zoom calls, Zoom meetings and all this. I said, mate, listen, Zoom's been going a lot longer than the last 2.5 years.
Yeah.
It's just suddenly the people who are absolute lazy shysters have got it and thought, you know what? We don't have to fucking move from our offices now. We don't even have to go out and see we don't have to get the receptionist going, Mrs. Jones, room 4. You just push a button on a laptop now.
So what are they doing then, Dave? What are they doing in these offices that they sit in their consulting rooms? What do you think they're doing all day?
Mate, they're not consulting, are they? I'm probably fucking buying crypto and selling. You know what I mean? Buying crypto, you know what I mean? Pornhub. I mean, the geezer, listen, that geezer, you know the geezer who got nicked for watching porn in the House of Commons on his phone?
He?
Yeah, one of the MPs, he got collared, didn't he?
Oh, he was flicking through a few vagina
He was looking at tractors, was his,
yeah, well.
that was his version. But no, he's on Pornhub. He would have known because they checked it, right? Well, when he listen, he said he was looking at tractors and he resigned, didn't he?
Yeah.
I can't remember his name now.
He's a farmer. He's a farmer, isn't he? That's what he is. He's wealthy. He's really rich, and he don't need the job.
I'll tell you his name, right? Because we had him on last night. His name was not Dominic the Wanker, no, the Winker Wanker.
Dominic Cummings.
No, Dominic Cummings. He was on last night, so he must have been on Monday. We must have caught up with him. There we go, porn star Neil MP, ex-MP Neil Parish.
Neil Parish, bless his heart.
Neil Parish. He was an ex-MP because he resigned over it, didn't he? Well, they went round to his house last week and confiscated a shotgun, an illegal firearm. They removed the shotgun from his house last week.
He's a farmer.
The police.
I'm surprised.
Mate, I don't give a fuck if you're a farmer, if you're a marksman for the England fucking clay shooting team, yeah? If you're not licensed, that's a grade 1 firearm, yeah? And you will get, that carries a minimum of 5 years.
What's your view on that? As in, like, you was in the services. There's a book, isn't there? More Guns, Less Crime. I think it ain't guns that kill people. It's people
Never
that
leave
kill
home without one.
What you got there? I can't see it. It's on the green screen. What is it?
Pistol. It's got a water
He's got a
pistol.
war pit. Oh, yeah, easy. Don't point that at me. What?
Have a
Yeah.
shootout like real men,
That's it. Have a real shit. I thought I was coming for Colonel Custer.
like Colonel Custer. Yeah, what's
Custer.
that? He'll go to bake me a cake. Yeah, him. That's what I'm for. I've done a TikTok on it.
Do you not see the problem, Dave, with the government having all the machine guns and us all having nothing? Do you not think there's a bit of an issue with that?
Fucked. That's
We're
why when
fucked.
people say to me, listen, when people say to me, I've got a little bit of history. I was in the forces for quite a while.
Yeah.
I did quite a few things I did. There's a book, you can read it. 6 weeks Behind Enemy Lines. My governor wrote it. Anyway, these people who say, oh, we got to storm Parliament. Who's going to be first then?
Yeah, there is that.
Do you think those fellas behind the other gate, you think those geezers at number 10 behind the gates, do you think they're not going to open up? You think they're empty magazines that they've got in there? Do you think there's not a whole team sat just round the corner? And I mean
Well,
a big team.
I think it depends. I
the
think it depends in what context you go. If you go as a rabble and there's about 60 of you, I think so. But if you actually add 500,000 or 1 million people that were all respectful, top and bottom of the gates, I think they'd see sense and go, actually, because my mate knows
there's
one.
1 million people in London, yeah, and out of that, everyone gets irated, and you're all getting emotional, you know.
No, not irate. No, not irate.
And the front end of the crowd decide we're going to go through the gates and start climbing over them. You
I
don't
think
they'll open up on you.
Well, my mate knows one of the ones that does that. He's got the gun and he sits there.
Yeah, I know a few of them. Yeah,
and he turned around and
Quite a lot
said,
of them are military.
there will be. He turned around and said that he said, we actually know what these politicians get up to. He said, we're only doing this for a wage. He said, if people come with genuine intent to get their country back and do things properly, he said, we would open the gates and sit back in our box.
You take that risk, would you?
Oh, do you know what? It depends how bad things got. I would, yeah, probably.
Unarmed. You take someone on unarmed. Have you seen someone who gets shot? Have you seen how the head goes and how the arm disappears? Have you seen all that?
Well, it is what it is. If you're not prepared to die for something, you'll accept anything. That's the trouble, isn't it?
Mate, I've seen grown men who've been in trained for years, yeah, and when push comes to the shove, they can't pull that trigger, mate.
So here's the thing then, right? So how is it that we've ended up with politicians that are protected by men with machine guns? What's that all about?
Well, because what they've done is, Mick knows a lot of. Mick's good on his history, isn't he? He's there, isn't he? Sorry, Mick's good on his history, like from back in the day, because he's a bit older than us. But when they had that big room that we call the Houses of Parliament now, the Houses of Parliament, back in the day when the King was sat there with his missus and all that, and the serfs were there. If anybody said anything out of line, i.e., on the benches, yeah. They had a thing called a geezer with a big axe, didn't they? And his word, the bloke in charge's word, the bloke's in charge word was law. That was the end of it. This is what I'm doing. This is what I want. I want these taxes collected. I want this done. I want that done. And they did it. But the people on the benches weren't too keen on that. They wanted a bit more power, didn't they? And slowly but surely, they dragged that power away from that chair. Hence, Queen Elizabeth now, she's got zilch power. Nothing. Nada. Bless her cotton socks.
Well, she has actually.
She hasn't, mate.
Yes, she has.
No, because they would go like that.
Now you can argue, but she can dismiss Parliament and she can close.
She will never. She's 90 odd years old, mate. Do you think she can go on into Parliament?
No, she can.
She's abandoned ship.
She could. She can if she wants to. That's that. She wouldn't. Of course, she wouldn't. But
no,
she's got
and there's your right.
Remember that what you forget about the Queen. The Queen has three things that deny revolution in this country. She's head of the church, she's head of the parliamentary system, and she's head of the armed forces. Everybody swears allegiance to the Queen. Okay. Now, should you decide that's treason, and then if you go against that, it's sedition by raising that, and that's basically where you are. So the Queen has got the ability and the legal right to dismiss this Parliament and get rid of the government and ask them to have another general election. I suppose that's what it will come to.
Mikey,
so, she has got the right to do that.
Mikey, when we was at the Royal Courts of Justice, what did that clerk say to you if the Queen turned up?
Oh yeah, she has to make the point. Well, nobody's above the law. So she was right. So nobody's above the law. I mean, the Queen is Regina versus Regina. I mean, look at Prince Andrew. You know, he's royal family, so he's royal, but he's still going to be. He got away with it because he's Prince Andrew. But he's not above the Queen's not above the law. I mean, it's like Prince Philip. You know, when he had
Could you imagine the president of whoever it is? Forget about it's an old fella that's got no brains and there's a bit doddering on his feet. Forget about that. But any president of the United States writing a bit of paper with Prince Andrew's name on it, yeah, and say we want him extradited to the United Kingdom. Send that to the United Kingdom, please. And it comes through email, or however they do it, post maybe, and they get it. Whoever's in charge of extradition, which is the Home Secretary, wouldn't it? Can you imagine Priti Patel going, yep, bang, send him?
No, it doesn't work like that. It's not down the Home Secretary. It has to go through the rule of law. It has to be decided whether they're going to.
Yeah, but we should all go through the rule of law.
Never get. You're not talking about a serf, are you? Like a guard, you know what I mean? Who's been thrown to the wolf for whatever reason.
The thing is, when you go back to the times of serfdom and all that, you're talking about a monarch with absolute power. Nobody in this country has absolute power except the Queen. She has absolute power because she's the head of the three things I already spoke about. So yes, she has. So she's the supreme.
But she hasn't got the power like Mick, Michael, Mike.
She's
please,
a servant.
She hasn't. Listen, I wouldn't do that job for all the tea in China, mate. And you could probably have all the tea in China doing it if you wanted it. She gets told what time she's up, what she's having to eat, where she's going, her diary, and everything is all done for her.
I agree with
all the legalities are done for her. It's the people behind her that pull the strings.
Well, that was never in question. The question is, and it's whether it's right or wrong. Is as the Queen's got the power to tell Parliament, that's it, stop Parliament. Now the thing is, I mean, what would you rather have, a House of Commons or a president? Like a republic, like we have
in this country. It didn't work.
What would you rather have, a republic or a monarch?
To be honest with you, at my pay grade, it would make no difference to me at all, Mick.
Well, I mean, you take a view on it. This country is steeped in tradition and it's all to do with royalty, right? Now, a lot of people always argue, we'll keep the Queen because she's good for tourism. And to some degree, they're absolutely right. It is good for tourism. Nobody does pomp and circumstance and pageantry like we do. And it's an envy of the world if that's your thing. However, the Queen is still the absolute monarch and she's got the power. Whether she wields that power or whether she's allowed to wield it.
Yeah, those days have gone. You know what I mean? We live in 2022 now. We don't live in 17 or 16 something, do we? You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, the thing, how far do you go back? I mean, go back to Victoria. Yeah. Victoria really was the last monarch that had any sort.
Yes, because it was a different, again, because of that period of time, Mike.
Yeah, of course it is. Exactly, that's the point I'm making. And so as we move along, I mean, if you go back to the man who founded Parliament for us, was Simon de Montfort, okay, in the 14th century it was, who got killed in battle, actually.
Yeah.
He's the one who brought, and then you go forward to bringing in Parliament. Then you've got Charles I, who was extradited, Oliver Cromwell and all that stuff, who brought in Parliament as it was. And when we had two sides, and it was an argument, debate, and all that stuff, and then it's developed from there, gone on. But in between, then we had the restoration of the monarchy, and we had Charles II, the Merry Monarch. Then we had William and Mary, James, and all these people came in, and they all bit by bit had their powers taken away by Parliament. Okay,
and that's what's happened.
That's right.
That is exactly where I was going
Yes.
with the
No,
question that he
One at
asked.
a time, one at a time, one at a time,
No,
please.
the point I'm making is it's now going away from the people. The people are now losing the power to decide things because the successive governments
Yes,
since the Second World
100%.
War
Of
have
course it has.
taken away bit by bit our freedoms, and they're trying to get rid of freedom of speech. They're trying to get rid of noisy demonstrations. So how long is it before you will not be able to demonstrate? They're trying
Well, that fella just got nicked, didn't he? Brexit.
Everything our freedoms is going.
Well, the Brexit fella, the one with the top hat, the whiskey drinking lunatic, the one who still wants us to be in Europe, that one.
Oh no!
Farage?
No, the geezer who stands outside in Parliament.
Oh yeah, the one with, he's had his megaphones taken away.
Yeah. Well,
Steve, his name's Steve.
Dave, is it Steve?
He had the whole, his amp, the lot was all taken away.
All taken away by police.
Because they've passed a new law now that if they deem that the noise is too noisy, how you work that out, Steve? That's it, Steve, the pisshead. Pisshead Steve. That's the one. Cheers, Cockney Patriot. Him, C6 Steve. Yeah, he's had his stuff taken away, and they nicked him. It's the first time I've seen it because he's got away with all sorts of stuff since he started all this cockwomblery that he does. It's his cockwomblery to do, isn't it? At the end of the day, I don't agree with his topic, you know what I mean? But he's got the right to have his say, isn't he? You know what I mean? Whether you agree with him or not, you can't say no. He can't be there, but I can. He's just got as much right as anyone else. But now that's now set a precedent because you watch the next big what they term as right wing, mate. Every megaphone,
they're bit by bit taking away their freedoms. Everything is going. I mean, if you even the way they're making everybody buy electric vehicles. Why? How are they going to produce all this power to produce? Of course they're not. It's bullshit. I mean, this is a complete nonsense. They'll say, not enough power, you won't be able to run your car. That's it. So
a lot of these things that they bring up, a lot of these things that, listen, I went to grammar school. I'm not bad. I'm not poorly educated, but I didn't go to fucking Eton. You know what I mean? I'm proper working class old English. That's me. That's how I speak because I use old English words. Some people don't like it. That's tough shit. I just speak how I speak. So anyway, what they're doing is they put all these things out there, all this mental stuff, mad stuff that gets us debating between all of us. And you take your eye off the ball on other things, don't you? You know what I mean? And you'll argue that somebody will say, "Oh yeah, no, electric vehicles, it's the future. It's a brilliant idea." You know what I mean?
Future.
But just the basic thing, which is to be able to charge the fucking thing up and keep it going, is not workable.
The thing is, we're ruled by an elite that comes from places like fucking Islington, okay, where you got Camden.
Don't fucking start on fucking Islington now. I'm telling you.
I lived in Islington for 35 years. I can say what I like about Islington.
No, you can't. You was a fucking
listen, in the 60s, in the 60s, you could have bought Islington for 10 grand, a lot of it. Okay, now you can't eat out for £1 out in Islington. So I lived in Islington for 35 years, and I had my business there too. So the people that live in Islington are not in touch with the real world. They think the green agenda is the way it goes.
You're talking about a small minority in Islington.
No, we're not. We're not talking about a small minority. We're talking about
my man.
No, we're not. We're not a minority.
The majority of people in Islington can barely afford to fucking live there. Come on,
one at a time, lads. This is getting worse than Parliament Live now, isn't it? Eh?
And it doesn't matter what we think.
I can't hear it.
It doesn't matter what they think. It doesn't matter what they think. It doesn't matter what we think. It's what they think. And like people like Keir Starmer, who live in Camden, they're the people that you've got to be frightened of.
You've named two people, Mike. That's what I'm saying. It's a small nucleus of people. The majority of people in Islington go up fucking Holloway Road. They're all potless, mate.
In Holloway Road?
Holloway Road. Go up
Order.
Holloway Road.
Sorry? course
The
I have.
nightmare.
It's fucking at the top of my.
I know where it is. I lived
One
up
minute
there.
walk from me.
I know where it is. It's not the other way around. I knew 25 years
Of
ago.
course it's not. They're all potless.
It's gone to pot.
That's
But
exactly
it's-
what I'm saying. But you're saying no. Listen, the elite's a small number of people, mate.
Do
The
you
little,
know
the
what?
little,
Do you know what?
the
Do
little
you know what
coaches where the
humours
players
me?
are
Making,
people like
the
that.
making,
All,
they are-
all what humours me,
they
right,
make
is we have
they've
these
got- they've got
debates.
more say.
We have these debates. We talk about electric cars, but one thing we don't do is the real issues, like kids being fucked in social care, abuse that goes on in the system. Everything else kind of just sorts itself out. Whether we're going to have electric cars, whether we're going to have planes, automobiles,
A lot of people
it'll
burn
all
their
sort
heads to
itself
it,
out.
Dave.
But we don't deal with the real issues that are going on in this country. We just don't deal. We've got kids out there starving. We've got kids out there being abused by social workers, all sorts of people, and we don't care.
That we do listen, but we do care. But what happens is there's 4 people sat in here in this little group here on the screen. I don't know how many you got in the chat, right? And everybody, Alan Merritt is his number one topic, obviously, is child abuse in care for obvious reasons. We know that. Mike's might be the tax man or the elite in Islington. Dave, yours is common law, I believe, something like that.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. I just get involved in a bit of everything because that's me. I'd like to stick my finger in loads of pies. So, although the working class, we're all working class here. I presume the fella up there, I don't know who he is, but I presume we're all working class here. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're all fragmented.
Yeah.
The biggest part of society they've managed. Listen, do you know how many classes there are of working class now?
God knows how many.
There's now 7 different classes. If you look on the websites of the different, we had working class, middle class, upper class, didn't we? That was the 3 classes.
We did, yeah.
And I believe that's what it is still to this day. Right?
Yeah.
That's me personally, right? We've got male and females, yeah? 2 types of human beings walking on this planet.
Not
Right?
according to the
In my
government.
opinion, right? We got working class, middle class, upper class. But what they've done, and this is what they've done over the years, when you're talking about taking the powers away, they've pulled everything to themselves. But to do that, you've got to get as much disinformation and disarray going within society as possible to fragment it. So what we do, right? We'll have 457 genders. That'll get them fucking at it, right? So you've got 457 different lots of people, different genders, argue with each other.
There you go.
You've then got the working class. We'll have the real bottom ones who've got absolutely fucking nothing. They won't do anything anyway because they can't afford to. They're barely getting by from week to week. We'll have the single mothers that they won't be able to do nothing. So we'll split all them away. We'll then get the working class who think they're middle class because they've earned a few quid, like Mike. We'll get them to another. They'll have a go. The other ones, right? And what we'll do is get everyone at each other's throat. So your biggest proportion of society, which is probably around about, you're probably on about 60% of society. The biggest numbers is us lot, is the working class.
Of course.
But they just divided us.
Yeah, but you're not. It's not what you. It's not what you are. It's not what. I mean, I'm working class. My dad's a lorry driver. My mum worked in hospital. I mean, and I'm a working class boy, born in Deptford, and that's it. But and I made a lot of money. So what does that where does that take me?
You're working class. You're working class. Yes. And you got a few quid.
But it's not where you're taken. You're taken to middle class, wherever you like, by other people. They are. Because you're driving a Mercedes-Benz S-Class or a Ferrari or whatever, you're then all of a sudden, you forget your working class. He must have a few quid. So, so you must be middle class.
Working class is a few quid. That's all you are.
Because I now no longer speak like you do. I speak a lot better than I used to because I had to. Because that's the only way I can make any money because nobody can understand what I said. Because I was too much of a cockney. So I had to learn to speak and enunciate correctly so people could understand what I'm saying. Now, boys sitting there going, well, fuck me, mate. I don't know what to do with that. I don't fucking clue with that.
You need to come to a few business with me.
Well,
I can use very, very convoluted long words. I can use sentences and you won't understand.
I went to grammar school. I went to London Nautical School. I've got
4 minutes, gents. 4 minutes.
Yeah. But I'm still basic. I am a working class man who made a few quid. That's all I am. That's all I ever was, and that's all I ever wanted to be. I don't give a fuck what class I am, because I know in my heart I'm.
Well, I do. I'm very proud to be working class.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very, very proud.
I know I'm a first class working class. Because I'm successful. Nothing wrong with saying you're successful, but it seems to be like an issue where a lot of people say, "Oh, fuck you! You think you've done well, you bastard!" Because you made a lot of money.
They think
You're castigated.
It changes their stance in society. They think they, better than the Joneses.
Because you've got they've got fuck all.
But again, all this was brought out, Mike. Again, was to cause division. Oh,
Absolutely.
I've got a nice car, I've got a bigger house.
There's no division between us because we are
1 million, mine's worth 1.4. So I must be better than you. I must have done much better than you.
Yeah, but the thing is,
a lot of luck.
The thing is, we're sitting there, as you say, all four of us, all working class. Oh, you made some money. Everybody's made some money. We'll go to work. We've all done our thing. Everything. But the perception is, it's people's perception of you where it all comes up, where it starts to unravel. Because I walk around in a shirt suit and I wear a tie, I get looked at walking up and down the street like I'm some fucking joke. Wearing a tie. Why would you wear a tie these days? Nobody wears a tie. Why have you got a tie on? Why are you wearing a hat? Why have you got nice?
I never go out without a shirt on. I'll never go out without a shirt.
Well, you're not from Newcastle, are you?
I don't. It's not that. I just don't feel comfortable.
Don't start them off.
I've been brought up to go out and have a little bit of value. You know what I mean?
Right.
Nobody castigates you.
At the end of the day, when you said about how we're going to change it, even if you did manage to drag all that lot out of Westminster, who are you going to replace it with?
Exactly.
You have to have a system.
And that is,
you have to have order.
Hopefully next week we'll have that conversation. Who will we put in?
But you do have to have order. You know what I mean? You need a police force.
Rule of law. So all you need to go back to rule of law.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
And to me, the problem isn't the politicians, because they're all puppets anyway. Most people know that they're mouthpieces for the civil servants, and that's where your rub is.
That's where you got to get.
I think the police are starting to realise they've been thrown under the bus and all.
I think the crunch will come to the police in a very, very, very near future.
Yeah.
When their pensions start going wrong.
Yeah, they know it, don't they?
That gravy train is coming to an end, even for your local boroughs. Local boroughs, every single borough, every single council in the country has dipped into their pension pots. And that's why they keep increasing the council tax. And they're not cutting what they're doing because that's what they want to do. They're cutting that because a large proportion of that money is going in to prop up current pension payments.
They're doing Maxwell. They're doing what Robert Maxwell did.
Yeah, they're robbing Peter to pay Paul is what they're doing, which is what everyone on the street does.
That's why they want you to work to 70 now. That's the goal.
Mate, you'll be working until you're in your box if they have their way.
Yeah, but I tell you one thing, they want you to work to 70, but you try and hire a car anywhere abroad after you're 70 years old.
Well,
we're coming up. We're just sorted out my pension. Guys, I have a few more minutes.
I've just sorted out my pension. It gets paid in by next Friday. It gets paid into my account. Yeah. Bearing in mind, I started that as a kid in 1992.
Right.
I just got out the forces when I took that part of my pension, put it into a private and joined it all together. You know what I mean, like you do. And anyway, I've got to pay. It's £9,300 and a bit of change tax on money that I've already paid tax on.
We've all been there, mate. My heart goes out to you. You're absolutely right. It's
the one thing that was stopping me claiming it, but I can't leave it any later because I'm scared to death. Because the Pru now they don't control payments anymore. They've lost that side of it.
You take it as a lump sum.
Yeah.
You're taking all that, so you pay 20% tax on it.
Every brass razoo. Yeah.
You pay 20% tax on it.
Yes.
Yeah. So
I get 25% of the lump sum. I get tax free.
That's right, and the rest you pay.
And the remainder, I've got to pay tax on that, which is 9,300 and a bit of change. Which my accountant has said, David, we might get you some back. We might not get you any back. We might get it all back.
It's all a swindle, isn't it?
You're to the mercy of the HMRC.
Did you get your lump sum? Was it about 60 grand?
A little bit more than that.
Yeah, when you before you start, when you took 70 grand, say you took 70,000 quid, you took 25% as tax free, then you paid income tax on the other 75%, right? Okay, so what are you gonna do with that 70? What are you gonna do with that 75% you got left?
That's my business.
No,
Yeah.
no,
He's going to get some rockets.
I'm saying, because
I'm gonna buy Dogecoin.
you're gonna go into cryptocurrency.
I've already
Crypto's
bought
the
I've
future.
got quite a bit of it. I've got millions of them.
Crypto's the future.
Yeah,
It is, whether people like it or not. It is the
well,
future.
crypto at the moment. Have you seen how
I've done very well out of it. Thank you very much over the last 9 years.
Crypto,
It's
I'll be very careful.
decentralised as well, isn't it?
Eh?
It's decentralised, so government can't control it.
They'll
Yeah,
never
well,
control it. They're trying to. They're trying to work out a way. They'll
They
never
won't.
do it.
No, they won't,
boat. They missed that boat by about 9-10 years.
We got some good information going to be coming on the crypto soon from
Yeah,
a
I'll give
channel
you a
on
rundown,
YouTube.
shall I? I'm just going into my Binance wallet now. I'll give you a rundown. Everybody telling me how, oh, Dave, you're going to lose all your money. Yeah, of course you are. Right, here we go. NMR is up 103.65% up. This is on the day's trading. Yeah. RLC is up 27.6. AMP is up 21.81. PLA is up 21.05. RAMP is up 16.26. When people asked me a week ago, and I would never advise anybody financially, that's not my job, right? But a few people said to me, Dave, Bitcoin, it's going to crash, isn't it? And I said, to be honest with you, I think it'll bottom out recently, a week and a half ago. I said, if you ask me, I talk in dollars, yeah. If you ask me, I would say it's going to bottom out somewhere around about the $1,600. $16,000, right? I said, I think it'd be somewhere around about there. That was my thoughts on it. And at the time, it was 18,600, yeah. Within 12 hours, it started climbing again. So I said, if I wanted to buy Bitcoin now, which I don't need to, we've got enough. But if I wanted to, I would have bought it then at 18.6. Yeah. It went up within 12 hours to 22.9.
Wow.
Ain't a bad little climb, is it?
Yeah, okay. So what did you do?
And if you'd have bought it and just had it for 12 hours or so and banged it out, you'd have earned a nice tidy sum out of it. You know what I mean? But if you've got that sort of money to put in, you know what I mean? And it's no different than anything else. It's a gamble, you know what I mean? And you can lose as well as win, as many people have.
Yeah, but it's like stocks and shares. The same thing with stocks.
Of course it is. Of course it is. People said to me, "Oh, cryptocurrency is a Ponzi scheme. You lose all your money." I've been getting told that for over 9 years now.
It's like stocks and shares.
No one lost any money with Topshop, did they? With Topshop, no one lost any money with BHS shares. No one lost any money with Debenham shares. You know what I mean? The real secure stuff in the stock market.
They were never secure.
It's a gamble, you know what I mean?
Never
Life's
secure.
a gamble.
Everything's a gamble. Life's a gamble.
Life's a gamble, mate. Look at that poor lady the other day, yesterday.
Yeah, but I've got stocks.
Dame Deborah James.
Yeah, but I've got stocks and shares, okay, on bits and bobs, and which do go up and down. The thing is, you just don't sell them off. When they drop down, they drop down. You don't sell them to get out. You just hang on.
Well,
and they come back up again.
The thing is, no one's got a crystal ball. Everybody thinks that.
You've got to take a dividend,
but you haven't. When I came out of the army, I first went to British Telecom, and it was the first ever strike that they ever had in their history, and I was there. And part of our settlement to go back to work after losing money for 6 weeks, I left after that and moved to Spain. I'd never get involved in a corporate again. I said that. But part of our settlement was 10,000 BT shares, depending on your length of service, up to 10,000 BT shares. Some people, some of the fellas got issued those shares and sold them within weeks. And some of them made 6, 7, 8 grand on their shares. You know what I mean?
You didn't.
I've still got those shares today. Yeah. And I'd be better off not buying toilet roll and using them. That's what they're worth now. You know what I mean?
What are they worth? Peanuts, don't they?
I think they're about 124, 120, something like that.
It's good to talk.
It is.
Anyway, gentlemen, I'm shutting the show down. I want to thank you all.
Been nice chatting to you.
God bless you, Davey.
Get back
good
next
luck.
week.
Good evening.
Thank you, James, and we'll see you all next week, guys and girls.
Yeah,
God
we'll
bless
see
you
you,
all.
Dave. We'll see you both when we come down to Pie Mash.
Yes.
Oh, definitely. We've got one opened here. Somebody told me to go to Bath. Listen, somebody told me today, he's in here listening. He said, Dave, we've got a brilliant pie mash up in Bath. I said, Bath, Somerset. He went,
Right,
yeah.
my lover. How do you want your
"Fine,
liquor?
mate." I said, you're fucking
Anyway.
mental, mate.
Good night, gentlemen.
Pie Mash.